The images captured during times of war often reveal truths that words alone cannot convey. Behind every iconic battlefield photograph lies a human story, sometimes triumphant, sometimes tragic, and often hidden from mainstream history. These rare images bring into sharp focus the experiences of civilians, soldiers, and the forgotten victims who seldom appear in textbooks or documentaries. One striking photograph shows a young boy, no older than 10, standing amidst the rubble of a bombed-out village. His clothes are torn, his face smudged with dirt, yet his eyes carry a resilience that defies the devastation around him. This single image challenges the sanitized narratives of war we are accustomed to, reminding us that history is not only written in victories and treaties but also in the suffering and courage of ordinary people. Rare wartime photographs also shed light on moments of absurdity and unexpected humanity amid chaos. In one black-and-white image, a group of soldiers pauses during a battlefield march, sharing a laugh while a cat curls up nearby, oblivious to the surrounding destruction. Such images break the monotony of heroic or propagandistic depictions, showing that life persists even in the harshest conditions. These rare glimpses reveal that war is not a monolithic experience, it is composed of thousands of tiny, human moments that are often erased from collective memory. The civilian experience in war is particularly poignant when captured in photographs that have remained hidden for decades. Images of women and children scavenging for food, families huddled in makeshift shelters, and elderly individuals navigating destroyed streets tell stories of endurance and survival. A photograph from post-World War II Europe shows a mother teaching her child to read beside a collapsed building, the child's laughter a stark contrast to the devastation surrounding them. These photographs act as visual testimonies of resilience, reminding viewers that even in the darkest moments, human beings cling to hope and normalcy. Another striking aspect of rare wartime photography is the exposure of forgotten tragedies. While history often focuses on battles and political leaders, these photographs preserve the memory of overlooked victims. Images from lesser-known conflicts, such as regional skirmishes or colonial uprisings, reveal atrocities that rarely make it into textbooks. One particularly haunting photograph shows a deserted village after a massacre, the silent ruins speaking louder than any written report. These images demand attention, compelling us to confront the human cost of political decisions and the fragility of life during turbulent times. Some rare photographs challenge the myths of heroism associated with war. Propaganda often presents soldiers as fearless warriors, but candid images reveal fatigue, fear, and doubt. One rare snapshot from the trenches of World War I depicts soldiers resting with heads in hands, their faces etched with exhaustion. Another image from the Vietnam War shows a young soldier cradling a wounded comrade, the reality of pain and responsibility far removed from glorified portrayals. These photographs humanize combatants, offering a perspective that is often absent in history books and public consciousness. The power of these images lies not only in the subjects captured but also in the context in which they were taken. Many photographers risked their lives to document events that governments or authorities preferred to remain hidden. Their work preserves moments that would otherwise be lost to time. Consider a photograph taken in a remote village during a conflict in Southeast Asia, showing villagers performing a funeral ritual while bombs fall in the distance. The juxtaposition of life, death, and chaos within a single frame forces viewers to grapple with the complexity of human existence in wartime. Moreover, rare wartime photographs reveal cultural and social aspects that are often overlooked. They show how people adapted to circumstances, maintained traditions, and created communities even when surrounded by destruction. In one image, a street musician continues to play despite the constant threat of air raids, his music a quiet act of defiance and normalcy. Another photograph depicts children improvising games using fragments of debris, their creativity and innocence preserved in black and white tones. These moments remind us that war does not entirely erase humanity, it reshapes it in profound and unexpected ways. Photographs from conflict zones also provide historical insight that complements written records. Maps, battle reports, and official accounts can describe movements and outcomes, but images capture emotion, texture, and immediacy. A single photograph of a refugee column can communicate exhaustion, despair, and determination more vividly than any textual description. Rare images that resurface decades later challenge accepted narratives, offering new perspectives on well-documented events. They allow historians, researchers, and viewers alike to see the nuance and complexity of human experiences that conventional history often neglects. Finally, the impact of these photographs extends beyond mere historical documentation. They provoke empathy, awareness, and sometimes outrage, prompting viewers to reflect on contemporary conflicts and the enduring consequences of human choices. Seeing the faces of forgotten victims, the small acts of courage, and the moments of quiet life amidst chaos encourages a deeper understanding of humanity's capacity for both destruction and resilience. Rare wartime photographs are more than just visual records, they are portals to the past, revealing truths that challenge, enlighten, and haunt us. In this section, these images set the tone for the documentary, establishing the power of rare photographs to reveal hidden histories. They compel the audience to question what they know, to see beyond familiar narratives, and to recognize that every photograph, no matter how small or obscure, has a story worth telling. The untold experiences captured in these frames form the foundation for the following sections, where the focus will expand from war to everyday life, forgotten cities, and the peculiarities of human history preserved in the fragile medium of photography. Beyond the front lines of war, the lives of ordinary people in history often remain hidden, captured only in the rarest of photographs. These images provide a window into daily existence, showing both struggle and resilience, ingenuity and hardship. One photograph depicts a crowded street in a 1920s industrial town, where children in tattered clothes weave through carts and factories, their faces smeared with soot, yet their eyes glimmer with curiosity. Unlike the polished images often seen in history books, these candid moments reveal the raw texture of life in an era defined by poverty, labor, and unrecognized perseverance. Rare photographs of everyday life often challenge our assumptions about the past. Many assume that life a century ago was strictly formal and rigid, but these images reveal a complexity of human experience. In one street scene from 19th-century London, a group of women sells vegetables from baskets balanced on their heads, while nearby, children chase makeshift hoops through muddy lanes. The contrast between activity and hardship highlights a society that functioned through improvisation, resilience, and community, even under oppressive social conditions. These photographs remind us that history is not just about kings, battles, or grand architecture, it is about the ordinary individuals who lived, worked, and dreamed amidst the chaos of their times. Some rare images expose conditions that are both shocking and heart-wrenching. Photographs of child labor in factories, coal mines, and textile mills reveal lives of grueling work far removed from the innocence usually associated with childhood. One image shows a young girl, barely 10 years old, sitting atop a pile of raw cotton, her small hands working tirelessly. The grim reality of these children's lives often contradicts the romanticized notion of past eras as simpler or more innocent. Each photograph acts as evidence, a silent testimony to the struggles that shaped generations and fueled the social reforms that followed. Yet within these hardships, there is often evidence of creativity and adaptation. Images of street vendors, for example, showcase ingenuity as people used every available resource to survive. A photograph from the early 1900s depicts a man selling makeshift toys crafted from scraps of wood, metal, and string, children flocking around him with wide eyes and laughter. These images reveal that even in environments constrained by poverty, human beings find ways to create joy and sustain culture. The ordinary moments captured in these rare photos often speak louder than grand historical events, offering a nuanced understanding of how societies functioned beyond headlines and official records. Daily life in marginalized or overlooked communities is also illuminated in these photographs. Rare images of immigrant neighborhoods in the early 20th century show crowded tenements, bustling marketplaces, and vibrant cultural gatherings that mainstream history frequently ignored. A photograph of a family celebrating a small festival on a fire escape, children holding homemade lanterns, portrays joy and resilience in spaces often dismissed as bleak. These visuals challenge dominant narratives, proving that even in adversity, communities found ways to preserve traditions, express creativity, and maintain social bonds. Sometimes, rare photographs uncover social practices and taboos that were hidden or misunderstood. Images of women at work in unconventional professions, for instance, reveal the often overlooked role of women in sustaining economies, leading households, and contributing to public life. One photograph captures a female street cleaner from the 1920s standing proudly beside her broom, her uniform worn but dignified. Another image shows women in early factories operating heavy machinery, a sight that contrasts sharply with the common perception of passive domesticity during that era. These photographs illuminate the hidden contributions of groups often marginalized in historical accounts, emphasizing that history is made by many, not just a privileged few. Rare photographs also preserve moments of humor, leisure, and humanity amid challenging circumstances. In one image, children balance precariously on a pile of scrap wood, turning play into a defiance of the hardships around them. Another photograph shows men and women dancing on the streets during a festival, their movements lively and spontaneous despite the surrounding poverty. These snapshots remind viewers that human beings have always sought joy, even in the face of difficulty, and that everyday life in history was never entirely bleak or monotonous. Moreover, such photographs allow us to see the intersections of culture, class, and geography. A single image can reveal the stark contrast between wealth and poverty, tradition and modernity, public spectacle and private struggle. Consider a photograph taken in a city market during the 1930s, showing wealthy patrons browsing imported goods while street children beg nearby. The visual tension captured in that moment speaks volumes about social hierarchies, economic disparity, and the coexistence of extremes in historical urban life. Ultimately, rare photographs of everyday people remind us that history is lived in the small, often unnoticed moments. They preserve the textures, expressions, and contradictions that textual accounts frequently omit. From children playing in the streets, workers enduring grueling shifts, to families celebrating private milestones, these images provide a powerful counterpoint to sanitized or incomplete narratives. They compel us to acknowledge that the lives of ordinary individuals, captured in fleeting moments, hold as much historical significance as wars, politics, or monumental events. In this section, these images of ordinary life expand the lens beyond conflict, showing viewers that history is multifaceted, lived, and deeply human. They provide context for the following sections, where the focus will shift from everyday existence to lost cities, strange inventions, and other hidden facets of the past. By emphasizing both struggle and ingenuity, these rare photographs invite audiences to connect emotionally and intellectually, creating a deeper appreciation for the richness of human history. Among the most haunting and evocative rare photographs are those that capture lost cities, forgotten towns, and vanished architecture. These images preserve places that time, war, industrialization, or natural disasters have erased, offering glimpses into worlds that no longer exist. One striking photograph shows a narrow cobblestone street lined with ornate buildings, now reduced to rubble after years of neglect. The frame is empty of life, yet the shadows and textures tell stories of countless lives lived within those walls, merchants, families, artisans, whose presence has vanished but whose memory lingers in these images. Such photographs reveal a duality, beauty and decay, human ambition and impermanence. Rare images of forgotten cities often challenge our understanding of urban life in history. Many viewers imagine cities evolving gradually and predictably, but photographs of abandoned neighborhoods show that destruction, migration, or economic collapse could wipe out entire communities seemingly overnight. In one photo of a coastal town deserted after a devastating storm, crumbling docks and broken houses hint at the livelihoods that were lost, while remnants of personal belongings, hanging clothes, a child's toy, create a deeply human connection. These images serve as visual evidence that cities are not eternal, they rise, flourish, and sometimes disappear, leaving only photographic traces behind. The photographs also highlight the cultural and architectural uniqueness of places now lost. Images of marketplaces, cathedrals, public squares, and private homes reveal craftsmanship and design that are often absent in surviving structures. One rare photo from early 20th century Eastern Europe shows a row of intricately carved wooden houses, their facades adorned with motifs that reflect local folklore. Today, many of these buildings no longer exist, destroyed by modernization or conflict. These photographs preserve artistic and cultural heritage that would otherwise be forgotten, offering insight into the daily lives, aesthetics, and identities of past communities. Lost cities also carry layers of social and economic history. In photographs of industrial towns abandoned after factory closures, empty streets and silent chimneys tell stories of labor, migration, and societal change. One image depicts a railway station overgrown with weeds, a reminder of the bustling transportation networks that once connected remote communities. Another shows a grand hotel in a deserted resort town, its ornate facade standing in stark contrast to the desolation around it. Through these photographs, viewers witness how economic shifts, natural disasters, or political upheavals could reshape landscapes, leaving behind visual testimony of human ambition and its impermanence. Rare photographs of destroyed cities and neighborhoods often carry emotional weight as well. They evoke nostalgia, loss, and sometimes shock. A photograph of a street after wartime bombing may show only fragments of buildings, yet these fragments convey entire worlds of memory, childhood homes, family gatherings, local businesses, that are now lost. The absence of human figures in many such photos makes the void palpable, emphasizing that history is not only about events but also about spaces and the people who inhabited them. These images remind us that the past was lived in tangible places, and their disappearance is a reminder of life's fragility. Some photographs reveal urban spaces that existed only briefly or were experimental in nature. Early 20th century exhibitions, temporary settlements, and futuristic housing projects sometimes leave behind nothing but photographs. One rare image shows an experimental neighborhood constructed entirely of prefabricated homes, now vanished, its innovative design captured only in archival prints. These glimpses into forgotten urban planning and architecture highlight both human creativity and the transience of our built environment. They remind viewers that what seems permanent today may be tomorrow's memory. Abandoned cities are not limited to industrial or war-torn landscapes, they also include culturally rich spaces erased by time. Photographs of ancient towns buried under sand or lost to forest growth reveal civilizations that once thrived but are now invisible to the naked eye. One black and white photo captures the ruins of a medieval village overtaken by trees, the empty streets hinting at stories of trade, festivals, and daily routines. Such images convey a silent narrative, bridging past and present and reminding viewers that history exists not only in written records but also in the remains of spaces humans once inhabited. In addition to documenting destruction, these rare photographs often inspire imagination and wonder. The juxtaposition of decay and lingering beauty creates a surreal, almost cinematic quality. Crumbling arches, moss-covered statues, and deserted streets bathed in shifting light evoke a sense of mystery, prompting viewers to imagine the lives once lived there. They also provoke reflection on the impermanence of human endeavors, the inevitability of change, and the ways in which memory is preserved through images even when physical spaces vanish. These photographs of lost cities naturally segue into broader reflections on human history, the impermanence of civilization, the fragility of culture, and the unexpected ways in which communities rise and fall. They complement the exploration of everyday life by providing context to the environments in which those lives unfolded. Through these images, viewers gain a profound understanding of how history is not only shaped by events and people but also by the spaces they inhabit. The visual record of vanished architecture, silent streets, and forgotten towns deepens our appreciation for the fragile beauty of human civilization, setting the stage for the next sections, where invention, innovation, and unusual human creativity will come into focus. History is not only shaped by wars, cities, and daily life, it is also defined by human curiosity and invention, sometimes in ways that are bizarre, dangerous, or astonishingly ambitious. Rare photographs capture strange technology and odd inventions, offering a glimpse into human ingenuity and folly that textbooks rarely explore. One particularly striking image shows an early prototype of a flying machine, constructed from wood, canvas, and an elaborate system of pulleys. The inventor, standing proudly beside it, embodies the audacity and optimism of an era when the sky seemed both mysterious and conquerable. These images invite viewers to witness the intersection of imagination, trial, and error, a combination that frequently led to success but just as often to failure, sometimes spectacularly so. Many of these photographs reveal inventions that were ahead of their time, appearing almost futuristic to contemporary eyes. Early submarines, mechanical vehicles, and experimental communication devices often seem absurd or comical now, yet they represent a serious effort to explore new frontiers. A rare photo from the late 1800s shows a complex mechanical contraption designed to transport humans across water using a system of pedals and gears. Though the machine never achieved widespread use, the photograph preserves a moment of experimentation and ambition, demonstrating that human creativity has always been fueled by curiosity, risk, and the desire to push boundaries. Other images highlight inventions that were dangerous, impractical, or outright bizarre. One photograph captures a prototype diving suit made of thick leather and brass, intended to allow deep-sea exploration, with valves, hoses, and an oversized helmet. While the design seems awkward and heavy by modern standards, it represents the bold attempts of inventors to conquer nature and test the limits of human endurance. Similarly, photographs of early automobiles, motorcycles, and experimental flight machines often depict vehicles that could barely function, yet they reflect an era of trial and error where failure was not a deterrent but a necessary step toward progress. Some rare inventions documented in photographs were intended to improve everyday life but ended up being almost comical. Images of bizarre household gadgets from the 19th and early 20th centuries reveal attempts to simplify cooking, cleaning, or personal hygiene, often with over-engineered designs. One photograph shows a hand-cranked device meant to peel, slice, and dice vegetables simultaneously, a contraption so complex that it would take longer to assemble than to perform the task by hand. Another captures a mechanical arm designed to assist with washing hair, complete with pulleys and levers, illustrating both the ingenuity and eccentricity of human problem-solving. These photographs entertain, amuse, and at the same time document the relentless drive to innovate. Rare images of military inventions also reveal the darker side of human creativity. Experimental weapons, armored vehicles, and early mechanized devices are often captured in photographs that survived only in archives. One striking image depicts a prototype tank from World War I, covered in rivets and awkwardly shaped armor plates, conveying both the ambition and the crude early attempts to mechanize warfare. Other photographs show experimental artillery, early flamethrowers, and odd contraptions intended to intimidate or overwhelm opponents. These images provide a sobering reminder that innovation can serve both noble and destructive purposes, and that history is often shaped as much by human imagination as by human conflict. Some inventions were intended purely for spectacle, curiosity, or entertainment, leaving behind images that are strange, whimsical, and visually arresting. Early amusement rides, mechanical toys, and carnival devices appear in photographs that capture the thrill, absurdity, or novelty of human creation. One photograph depicts a complex carousel-like contraption with multiple tiers, unusual animals, and intricate gears, frozen in time before the laughter and screams of riders were added to the experience. These images illustrate the human desire to innovate for joy, not just utility, and highlight a side of history that is playful, eccentric, and often overlooked. Rare photographs also document the human stories behind these inventions, inventors posing proudly, workers assembling fragile prototypes, and curious onlookers marveling at machines that sometimes functioned and sometimes failed spectacularly. One image shows a group of men gathered around a mechanical bird designed to mimic flight, their faces a mix of awe, skepticism, and amusement. These photographs reveal that innovation is rarely a solitary pursuit, it involves collaboration, community interest, and sometimes ridicule. They capture the emotional stakes of invention, where the line between brilliance and absurdity is razor-thin. In addition to preserving the objects themselves, these rare photographs capture the context and environment of experimentation. Images taken in workshops, factories, and early laboratories provide a sense of the physical and social conditions in which innovation took place. One rare photograph shows a cluttered workshop with early electrical devices scattered across benches, wires dangling from the ceiling, and tools strewn across the floor. The image conveys a chaotic creativity, a space where ideas were tested, adapted, and sometimes abandoned. These photographs allow viewers to imagine the tactile, hands-on process of invention in a way that words alone cannot. Finally, these rare images highlight the broader story of human ambition and curiosity. They remind us that history is not only shaped by political events, wars, and economics, but also by the relentless drive to experiment, innovate, and imagine. Each photograph of a strange machine, unusual gadget, or experimental invention represents a human attempt to transcend limits, solve problems, or simply explore what is possible. They inspire awe, amusement, and sometimes disbelief, while revealing the extraordinary diversity of human creativity throughout history. Through these photographs, viewers gain insight into the risks, failures, and small triumphs that accompany human ingenuity. They bridge the gap between past and present, showing that the drive to invent, experiment, and innovate is timeless. These images set the stage for the following sections, which will explore hidden tragedies, disasters, and human resilience, continuing the journey through rare historical photographs that reveal the untold stories of our collective past. Rare historical photographs often confront viewers with hidden tragedies and disasters that have been forgotten, overlooked, or deliberately omitted from mainstream narratives. These images are more than simple records, they are haunting visual testimonies that capture human suffering, resilience, and the unpredictable forces of nature and society. One striking photograph depicts a village flattened by an earthquake, where only twisted metal and shattered walls remain. Amidst the ruins, a few figures emerge, dust-covered and dazed, conveying the profound human impact of sudden catastrophe. Unlike textual accounts, photographs preserve the immediate reality of these disasters, capturing the chaos, despair, and fragile hope of those who survived. Many rare photographs document industrial accidents that changed lives but left little trace in public memory. Factories, mines, and chemical plants often claimed lives in ways that were hidden from official reports or media coverage. One haunting image shows a factory worker trapped under collapsed scaffolding, colleagues desperately attempting to free him. Another photograph captures the aftermath of a coal mine explosion, with rescuers sifting through debris as smoke and dust fill the air. These images remind viewers that progress and human innovation often came at enormous human cost, and that the consequences of negligence or unsafe conditions were devastating yet rarely acknowledged in historical records. Natural disasters, too, are powerfully documented in rare photographs. Hurricanes, floods, volcanic eruptions, and wildfires have destroyed entire communities, leaving behind landscapes frozen in ruin. A photograph of a flooded city street from the early 20th century shows families clinging to rooftops and makeshift rafts, their expressions a mixture of fear and determination. Another image captures a volcanic eruption, with molten lava consuming farmland while villagers scramble to rescue livestock. Such photographs convey the raw power of nature and humanity's vulnerability, emphasizing that history is shaped not only by human action but also by environmental forces beyond our control. Epidemics and public health crises are another category often revealed through rare photographs. Images of quarantine streets, overcrowded hospitals, and patients isolated in makeshift wards highlight the human toll of disease outbreaks. One photograph from the 1918 influenza pandemic shows rows of hospital beds crammed into a gymnasium, each occupied by a patient too weak to rise. Another captures a nurse administering care while exhausted relatives wait outside, anxiety etched on every face. These photographs document moments of despair and courage, exposing aspects of history that are frequently sanitized in textbooks or collective memory. They remind viewers that human suffering is often invisible until preserved through rare, candid imagery. Accidents and tragedies caused by human error are equally compelling in rare photographs. One striking image shows the aftermath of a train derailment, with twisted carriages and scattered belongings, while first responders work tirelessly amidst chaos. Another depicts a collapsed bridge, with townspeople stranded on either side, illustrating both the fragility of infrastructure and the resilience of communities forced to confront unexpected catastrophe. These photographs serve as visual lessons, capturing events that shaped regulations, safety standards, and collective awareness, while simultaneously reminding viewers of the human cost often involved in technological or logistical failures. Beyond immediate destruction, rare photographs also document the long-term consequences of disasters on communities. Images of displaced families living in temporary shelters, children attending makeshift schools, and markets reconstructed from debris reveal the painstaking process of recovery. One photograph captures a group of children playing amidst the ruins of a bombed city, their laughter a fragile testament to human resilience. Another shows families rebuilding homes after a devastating fire, their determination palpable despite the overwhelming scale of loss. These photographs highlight not only tragedy but also the enduring strength and creativity of human communities in the face of adversity. Hidden tragedies are not limited to sudden events. Some photographs expose ongoing crises that were ignored by authorities or society. Images of famine, forced displacement, and systemic neglect reveal suffering that persisted over months or years. One haunting photograph depicts malnourished children in a remote village, their frail bodies and hollow eyes capturing the silent devastation of hunger. Another shows families forced to migrate across difficult terrain, carrying what little they could salvage. These rare images remind viewers that human suffering often unfolds quietly, away from the attention of mainstream narratives, and that photography can serve as a powerful witness to injustice and neglect. Rare photographs also provide context that textual records cannot fully capture. They convey scale, atmosphere, and human emotion, allowing viewers to experience disasters in a more immediate, visceral way. A single image of a burned-down street, with charred remnants of daily life scattered across the pavement, tells a story of loss and upheaval far more vividly than statistics or reports. Similarly, photographs of storm-ravaged landscapes or destroyed villages evoke empathy and reflection, bridging the gap between past events and present understanding. They transform abstract historical knowledge into tangible human experience. These images often challenge public perception of history by revealing events that were suppressed, forgotten, or overshadowed by other narratives. Rare photographs of tragedies like minor conflicts, regional famines, or overlooked natural disasters force viewers to confront realities that might otherwise remain hidden. They highlight the selective nature of memory and history, emphasizing that every photograph preserved against the odds is a testament to lives, struggles, and events that deserve recognition. Ultimately, rare photographs of hidden tragedies and disasters illustrate the fragility of human existence and the unpredictable forces that shape history. They are visual reminders that history is not only made by kings, battles, or inventions, but also by survival, resilience, and response to catastrophe. These images compel audiences to reflect on the courage, ingenuity, and endurance of those who lived through events that most of the world has since forgotten. They set the stage for the following sections, where the focus will shift to crime, punishment, and social justice, continuing the journey through rare, revealing moments preserved by the camera. Rare historical photographs also reveal a darker side of human society: crime, punishment, and the pursuit of justice. These images capture moments that are often sanitized or omitted in mainstream history, exposing brutal realities, unusual practices, and forgotten stories that challenge our assumptions about law, morality, and human behavior. One striking photograph depicts a public execution in the 19th century, with a crowd gathered to witness the punishment. Faces in the audience reflect fascination, horror, and curiosity, highlighting how society once treated justice as both spectacle and deterrent. The photograph preserves a moment that feels both distant and immediate, forcing viewers to confront the human fascination with retribution. Rare images of crime scenes offer similarly powerful insights. A photograph of a ransacked jewelry store in early 20th century New York captures the aftermath of a heist: broken glass, scattered coins, and frantic police officers. Beyond the material loss, the image conveys tension, urgency, and the human stakes behind the crime. Another photograph from rural Europe shows a small village investigating a theft, the faces of locals revealing fear, suspicion, and communal involvement. These photographs document both the acts of wrongdoing and the social context in which they occurred, offering a nuanced view of crime that extends beyond sensationalized headlines. Punishment, in particular, is a recurring theme in rare historical photography. Images of corporal punishment, public shaming, and early prisons expose practices that seem shocking to modern eyes. One photograph shows a line of prisoners in striped uniforms, their expressions a mixture of resignation and defiance, while guards stand watch with strict authority. Another rare image captures a public whipping, with onlookers both observing and participating in the ritualized enforcement of law. These photographs reveal not only the physical brutality of punishment but also the social and psychological dimensions, how societies attempted to maintain order, instill fear, or enforce conformity through highly visible acts of discipline. Some rare photographs shed light on infamous criminals and cases that have been forgotten over time. Images of gangsters, thieves, or con artists in candid moments show their humanity, vulnerability, and often surprising ordinariness. One photograph depicts a notorious bank robber sitting in a cafe, casually sipping a drink, oblivious to the law enforcement that would eventually apprehend him. Another image captures a woman accused of theft, her posture and expression revealing fear, defiance, and the social stigma she faced. These images humanize historical figures who are often reduced to caricatures or sensational stories, allowing viewers to see the complexity of crime and the people behind it. Law enforcement itself is also documented in rare photographs, revealing both effectiveness and brutality. Images of early police forces in action, arresting suspects or patrolling neighborhoods, show a combination of discipline, improvisation, and sometimes corruption. One photograph captures mounted police confronting a street riot, the tension in the scene palpable, while another shows officers preparing for a citywide manhunt, weapons ready and expressions grim. These photographs provide context for understanding how societies attempted to maintain order and the challenges they faced, illustrating that the pursuit of justice was rarely simple or straightforward. Some rare images also expose unusual or archaic forms of justice that seem almost surreal today. Photographs of trials held outdoors, communal punishments, or bizarre sentencing practices reveal the cultural, social, and legal norms of different eras. In one image, a local magistrate presides over a trial in a town square, the defendant standing exposed to public view, while villagers observe every detail. Another photograph shows a unique form of restitution, where a thief is forced to perform public labor to repay the community. These rare visual records illuminate aspects of justice that have largely disappeared, offering insight into the evolving relationship between law, society, and morality. Photography also captures the psychological dimensions of crime and punishment. Close-up portraits of accused individuals, victims, and law enforcers convey fear, determination, shame, or resilience in ways that textual records often cannot. A rare image of a young boy accused of petty theft, sitting nervously on a bench in a courtroom, tells a story of vulnerability and societal judgment. Another photograph shows a gang member awaiting trial, his eyes hardened yet reflective, suggesting both the weight of his choices and the pressures of the environment that shaped him. These images humanize historical narratives, showing that justice is not merely a legal process but a deeply human drama. Finally, rare photographs of crime and punishment serve as more than historical evidence, they are cultural mirrors. They reveal the fears, moral standards, and social hierarchies of past societies. They show how communities confronted wrongdoing, enforced conformity, and sometimes blurred the line between justice and spectacle. The power of these images lies in their ability to make viewers reflect on their own assumptions about morality, legality, and human behavior, while providing a vivid, tangible connection to the past. In this section, rare photographs of crime, punishment, and justice reveal both the extremes and nuances of historical human society. They provide a bridge between hidden tragedies and cultural practices, showing the audience how law, morality, and human behavior intersected in moments that were often public, performative, and morally complex. These images set the stage for the next section, which will explore hidden moments of culture and leisure, highlighting how humanity found joy, entertainment, and creativity even in difficult or oppressive times. While history often emphasizes conflict, labor, and tragedy, rare photographs also reveal hidden moments of culture, leisure, and human creativity that provide a surprising contrast to hardship. These images capture the private joys, eccentric traditions, and unusual public spectacles that are often absent from mainstream historical narratives. One striking photograph shows a carnival scene from the early 20th century, children darting between elaborate rides, performers in exaggerated costumes, and families enjoying sweet treats. The image, frozen in time, conveys the energy, anticipation, and fleeting happiness of everyday life, highlighting how even in difficult eras, people found ways to celebrate, play, and connect. Rare photographs of leisure often illuminate cultural practices that were highly localized or have since vanished. Images of village fairs, traditional dances, and seasonal festivals show communities preserving customs despite social, economic, or political pressures. In one photograph from rural Europe, villagers perform a dance around a maypole, their faces animated and their movements rhythmic, while children watch eagerly from the sidelines. Another image depicts a midsummer celebration in Scandinavia, with families gathered outdoors, feasting and singing. These photographs not only preserve visual records of rituals but also reveal the importance of communal life and the role of tradition in maintaining social cohesion. Some rare images capture eccentric or unusual forms of leisure that seem bizarre today. A photograph from the late 1800s shows a group of men in oversized, custom-made bicycles racing along a town street, while spectators cheer from the sidelines. Another depicts a water skiing exhibition held on a riverbank, attended by townspeople dressed in formal attire. These images highlight the human fascination with novelty and experimentation, showing that people have long sought entertainment that is thrilling, whimsical, and sometimes absurd. They remind viewers that leisure is as much about imagination and creativity as it is about relaxation. Rare photographs also preserve the fashion and style associated with cultural life. Images of street performers, theater audiences, or formal dances show how clothing, accessories, and gestures conveyed identity, status, and creativity. One photograph captures women attending a garden party in the 1920s, their elaborate hats and flowing dresses reflecting both social norms and personal expression. Another shows men playing music in a cafe, hats tilted jauntily, instruments in hand, conveying an air of artistry and leisure. These photographs provide insights into aesthetics, social signaling, and the subtle ways in which people express themselves within cultural contexts. Hidden leisure moments also reveal the interplay between class and recreation. Rare images from early amusement parks, seaside resorts, and public parks show contrasts between social strata. One photograph depicts wealthy families enjoying a carousel, while working-class children play in nearby sandlots or crowded streets. Another captures a formal regatta attended by elite spectators, juxtaposed with fishermen rowing quietly along the same river. These photographs demonstrate how access to leisure and cultural activities has historically been shaped by social and economic status, while also showing that creativity and play can flourish in all circumstances. Some rare photographs preserve intimate, domestic moments of recreation that might otherwise be invisible to historians. Images of family gatherings, home music sessions, and children's games provide a glimpse into private life and the ways people constructed joy within their immediate environments. One photograph shows children playing marbles on a worn wooden floor, their concentration and laughter evident despite the simplicity of the activity. Another captures a family gathered around a piano, sharing music and smiles on a quiet evening. These intimate moments highlight the universality of play and culture, revealing that history is not only made in public spaces but also in the private spheres where human connection thrives. Public spectacles and performances also appear frequently in rare photographs, often with a surreal or striking quality. Images of theatrical productions, circus acts, and parades reveal elaborate costumes, staging, and audience reactions, creating a sense of shared experience and wonder. One photograph captures a street magician performing for an enthralled crowd, the astonishment on spectators' faces frozen in time. Another shows a masquerade ball with attendees in masks and intricate attire, reflecting both artistic creativity and social performance. These images underscore how culture, entertainment, and leisure served as both expression and escape, offering temporary relief from the hardships of daily life. In addition, rare photographs often document experimental or forgotten recreational activities that were once popular but have since disappeared. Early sports, hobby clubs, and novelty competitions are preserved in black and white or sepia tones, offering modern viewers a window into the evolution of leisure. One image depicts an early competitive kite-flying contest, participants holding elaborate kites with intricate designs, while another shows a bicycle polo match in a city park, complete with spectators on benches. These photographs capture moments of experimentation, innovation, and community, highlighting the ways people have continually sought enjoyment, competition, and collaboration. Ultimately, rare photographs of culture and leisure serve as a counterpoint to images of hardship, conflict, and labor, reminding viewers that human life is multifaceted. They document creativity, joy, resilience, and the ways communities maintain identity and expression, even in challenging circumstances. By preserving these moments, photography allows modern audiences to connect with the spirit of past generations, to see their humanity, and to appreciate the vibrancy of everyday existence. These images create continuity between past and present, showing that while technology, fashion, and social norms may change, the human desire for amusement, creativity, and communal experience remains timeless. In this section, hidden moments of culture and leisure bridge the gap between hardship and human innovation, preparing viewers for the next section, where the focus shifts to famous historical figures captured in rare and unexpected contexts. Through these images, audiences continue to explore hidden stories that deepen understanding of the human past, revealing the richness, eccentricity, and enduring creativity of previous generations. Rare historical photographs often reveal famous figures in moments that are intimate, unexpected, or strikingly human, images that challenge the carefully curated personas seen in textbooks, statues, or official portraits. These photographs provide a glimpse behind the public image, exposing vulnerability, humor, or private behavior that history rarely acknowledges. One photograph shows a well-known political leader laughing wholeheartedly during a casual gathering, a side of personality that contrasts sharply with the stern, composed image often presented in media or official archives. These images humanize iconic figures, reminding viewers that even those who shape history are subject to the same emotions, struggles, and idiosyncrasies as everyone else. Some rare photographs depict famous figures in extraordinary or unusual contexts, often outside the scope of their public duties. One striking image captures a renowned scientist in a rustic laboratory, surrounded by stacks of papers, tools, and experiments, his hair disheveled from hours of work. Another photograph shows a celebrated writer strolling through a bustling marketplace, interacting with ordinary citizens, offering a sense of accessibility and humility that defies conventional narratives. These images reveal the multidimensional lives of historical figures, offering a more nuanced understanding of their experiences, passions, and humanity. Rare images of royalty and heads of state also shed light on private lives and social environments often hidden from official histories. One photograph depicts a monarch laughing with family members at a private garden party, while another shows a crown prince engaging in a casual sport with friends, dressed far more informally than any public depiction would allow. These images provide a rare lens into the personal lives of those whose actions influenced nations, showing that behind the power and prestige, they too navigated ordinary relationships, leisure, and emotional moments. Such photographs challenge the rigid, formalized images often associated with historical power figures. Other rare photographs reveal historical figures in moments of failure, fatigue, or uncertainty, contexts seldom emphasized in popular history. A photograph of a general reviewing battle plans at night, surrounded by maps and exhausted aides, conveys the immense pressure and human cost of leadership. Another shows a famous artist slumped in a chair, sketchbook abandoned, conveying the emotional toll of creative struggle. These images illustrate that greatness is often accompanied by vulnerability, doubt, and resilience, qualities that are rarely captured in traditional narratives but are preserved through the candid lens of photography. Some rare photographs also capture unexpected encounters between famous individuals and ordinary people. One image shows a renowned author conversing with children in a rural village, their curiosity and admiration mirrored in the author's patient smile. Another depicts a celebrated inventor engaging with workers in a factory, their expressions ranging from awe to amusement. These images reveal the social dimension of influence and the ways historical figures interacted with communities, providing evidence of mentorship, inspiration, or simple human connection that written records often overlook. In addition, rare photographs sometimes depict historical figures in moments of controversy, risk, or personal danger. An image of a revolutionary leader during a clandestine meeting, faces tense and eyes alert, conveys the stakes of activism and rebellion. Another photograph shows a diplomat negotiating in a war-torn environment, sweat and dust visible on clothing and skin, emphasizing the physical and emotional pressures of navigating historical events. These photographs capture the tension, courage, and high stakes involved in shaping history, humanizing figures who are often remembered solely for their achievements or failures. Rare photographs also preserve everyday moments that provide context for the personalities and choices of historical figures. A photograph of a famous composer practicing at a piano in an unadorned room, a cup of tea nearby, conveys dedication and focus, while another shows a political leader walking through a crowded market, listening to citizens' concerns with careful attention. Such images bridge the gap between public myth and private reality, demonstrating that the decisions, creativity, and actions of influential individuals were grounded in everyday experiences, relationships, and environments. The impact of these photographs lies in their ability to create empathy and connection. By seeing historical figures as humans with quirks, weaknesses, and joys, viewers gain a more complete understanding of the past. The photographs challenge the mythologized versions of history, offering evidence that influence and legacy are intertwined with lived experience, emotion, and circumstance. They provide perspective, reminding audiences that history is shaped not only by actions recorded in documents but also by the subtle, private moments that reveal character, intention, and humanity. Finally, these rare images set the stage for exploring broader narratives in history. They highlight the interplay between personal life and historical events, showing how individual choices, relationships, and circumstances influenced larger social, political, and cultural outcomes. By capturing candid, intimate, or unusual moments of famous figures, these photographs bridge the gap between public perception and lived reality, preparing viewers for subsequent sections that explore social movements, communities, and hidden facets of the past. In doing so, they continue the documentary's overarching goal, revealing the untold, unexpected, and human side of history that photographs alone can preserve. Rare historical photographs often reveal hidden social movements, grassroots activism, and communities fighting for change, stories that mainstream history has often overlooked or minimized. These images preserve the courage, organization, and creativity of people striving to improve their lives and societies, providing a visual record of resistance, solidarity, and resilience. One striking photograph depicts a group of laborers marching with homemade banners, faces resolute as they demand better working conditions. Their determination is palpable, and the photograph freezes a moment of collective action that textbooks may only summarize in a line or two. Such images highlight the human energy, risk, and conviction behind social movements, reminding viewers that history is shaped not only by leaders but by ordinary people willing to act. Rare photographs of activism often capture unexpected strategies and unconventional methods of protest. One image shows women in the early 20th century participating in a peaceful sit-in, sitting cross-legged on city steps, their eyes alert and hands clasped, while police officers and curious onlookers surround them. Another photograph depicts a youth-led community group constructing a makeshift library in a marginalized neighborhood, using creativity and determination to claim knowledge and opportunity in a society that often denied it. These images highlight the innovation and courage required to organize change, demonstrating that social movements are not only ideological but deeply human, practical, and visual in nature. Some rare photographs document the risks taken by activists and marginalized communities in times of repression or surveillance. One haunting image captures protesters fleeing smoke and chaos after a violent crackdown, their faces a mixture of fear, determination, and solidarity. Another shows organizers meeting in clandestine spaces, their expressions tense as they prepare petitions or coordinate efforts under the watchful eyes of authorities. These photographs preserve the high stakes involved in advocating for change, providing viewers with an immediate and visceral understanding of the dangers faced by those whose voices challenged entrenched power. Hidden social movements also include campaigns for gender equality, racial justice, and minority rights, often captured in photographs that have survived despite limited coverage at the time. One rare image shows suffragettes demonstrating outside a government building, holding banners demanding the right to vote, their clothing and posture revealing both decorum and defiance. Another photograph depicts a civil rights march in a small town, faces determined and hopeful as participants walk shoulder to shoulder through dusty streets. These images preserve the visual evidence of struggle, resilience, and solidarity, providing inspiration and insight into efforts that reshaped society from the ground up. Rare photographs of activism often capture the personal side of participation, the emotions, gestures, and interpersonal connections that drive collective action. A photograph showing a group of factory workers sharing a quiet moment before a protest conveys anticipation, anxiety, and camaraderie. Another image captures a teacher mentoring students in a community literacy campaign, their expressions reflecting focus, pride, and hope. These candid moments humanize movements, reminding viewers that history is not only about mass events or leaders, but about the individuals whose courage, creativity, and persistence make social change possible. Some rare images also highlight unexpected intersections of culture and activism. One photograph shows musicians performing at a political rally, using art to amplify a message, while another captures street theater designed to draw attention to social injustice. These photographs emphasize the role of creativity and cultural expression in social movements, illustrating that activism is not confined to speeches, marches, or petitions but is deeply entwined with identity, performance, and imagination. They provide a richer, multidimensional perspective on the strategies and experiences of those pushing for change. Photographs documenting hidden communities also reveal resilience in everyday life under oppressive or marginalized conditions. One rare image shows a cooperative of artisans working in cramped, poorly lit conditions, creating goods that sustain the local economy despite systemic obstacles. Another depicts children attending an informal school in a refugee camp, their concentration and engagement a testament to human perseverance and the value placed on learning even in adversity. These images demonstrate that social movements and community activism extend beyond public protests, encompassing long-term efforts to improve quality of life, preserve culture, and protect human dignity. Rare photographs also preserve moments of triumph and recognition, showing the impact of activism over time. One photograph captures a community celebrating the opening of a newly built school after years of advocacy, faces radiant with pride and relief. Another shows activists marching victorious in a legal or political milestone, banners held high, the energy of success captured in a single frame. These images document the human cost of change alongside its rewards, providing an emotional and visual understanding of progress that goes beyond abstract historical accounts. Ultimately, rare photographs of hidden social movements and communities reveal that history is shaped as much by collective courage and persistence as by wars, politics, or famous individuals. They preserve the stories of ordinary people who took extraordinary risks to advocate for justice, equality, and social improvement. By documenting both struggle and triumph, these images provide a richer, more nuanced understanding of the past, emphasizing that human agency, creativity, and solidarity are central to historical progress. In this section, the focus on hidden social movements prepares viewers for the next chapters of the documentary, where rare photographs will explore forgotten innovations, hidden cultural practices, and peculiar or bizarre historical phenomena. These images continue the journey of uncovering untold stories, emphasizing that history is not only a record of events but a tapestry of human experience, action, and resilience preserved in moments captured by the camera. Beyond the well-documented events and familiar narratives of history, rare photographs often reveal forgotten inventions, peculiar innovations, and bizarre phenomena that challenge our understanding of past societies. These images capture human creativity and eccentricity, sometimes brilliant, sometimes absurd, but always revealing a desire to experiment, improve, or entertain. One striking photograph shows a prototype vehicle designed in the early 1900s, its body shaped like a bird and fitted with experimental gears. The inventor stands beside it, proud yet uncertain of its success. Such photographs preserve not only the objects themselves but also the spirit of ingenuity, curiosity, and risk-taking that drives human progress, even when outcomes are unconventional or unsuccessful. Rare photographs often reveal forgotten inventions that were ahead of their time or simply abandoned by history. A black-and-white image captures a mechanical writing device intended to automate letter production, its complexity apparent in the tangle of levers, gears, and type bars. Another photograph shows an early concept for a vertical city, complete with towers, skybridges, and communal terraces, illustrating urban planning ideas that never reached fruition. These images challenge contemporary perceptions of progress, reminding viewers that history is filled with ambitious projects that existed at the margins, shaping ideas even if they never materialized fully. Some photographs preserve inventions that were both bizarre and practical in context, yet seem absurd today. One image depicts a multi-purpose household machine designed to slice bread, churn butter, and wash dishes simultaneously, a contraption so complex it appears unwieldy. Another shows a mechanical device for testing eyesight in schools, with levers, lenses, and rotating dials, reflecting early attempts to standardize healthcare practices. These rare images reveal the human desire to solve problems, improve efficiency, or create convenience, highlighting a blend of ambition, experimentation, and eccentricity that is often lost in mainstream accounts of technological history. Rare photographs also capture odd public experiments and spectacles, where inventions intersected with culture and community life. One photograph depicts a floating theater, complete with rotating stages and elaborate lighting, set up on a river for public performances. Another shows a crowd gathered around a mechanical elephant designed as a parade attraction, its gears and cogs visible as children and adults marvel at its movement. These images document human fascination with novelty, entertainment, and invention, showing that even seemingly frivolous or peculiar designs held cultural significance, inspiring wonder, curiosity, and communal engagement. Some rare photographs document experimental transportation devices that never reached widespread adoption. Images of unusual bicycles, steam-powered carriages, or amphibious vehicles capture the optimism and inventiveness of engineers and tinkerers who sought to push the boundaries of mobility. One photograph shows an early monorail prototype elevated above a city street, its skeletal framework stark against the skyline. Another captures a hand-cranked flying machine with wings outstretched, poised for testing. These images preserve moments of daring experimentation, where ambition often exceeded the practical realities of materials, technology, or public reception, yet the photographs endure as proof of human curiosity and vision. Rare images also reveal scientific and medical innovations that were experimental or controversial in their time. One photograph shows a physician demonstrating an early X-ray machine, the apparatus cumbersome and imposing, while curious assistants observe. Another captures researchers experimenting with electrical stimulation for medical purposes, electrodes attached to subjects in ways that seem precarious to modern viewers. These photographs illuminate the trial-and-error process inherent in scientific discovery, showing the risks, ingenuity, and persistence involved in pushing the boundaries of knowledge. Some rare photographs preserve cultural inventions, blending tradition with innovation. One striking image captures a street vendor using an unusual mobile food cart, combining mechanical ingenuity with entrepreneurial creativity. Another shows performers in elaborate automaton-driven displays, combining art, mechanics, and entertainment. These images demonstrate how innovation was not confined to laboratories or workshops but also emerged in everyday life, in markets, streets, and public spaces, reflecting the dynamic interplay between culture, commerce, and creativity. Photographs of forgotten or unusual inventions often tell stories of ambition, failure, and perseverance. One image captures a team attempting to launch a small airship, ropes taut, engines primed, faces tense with anticipation. Another shows the aftermath of a mechanical contraption collapsing during testing, workers looking on with a mixture of frustration and amusement. These photographs convey not only the objects themselves but the human experiences of experimentation, risk, and adaptation, emphasizing that innovation is inseparable from its social and emotional context. Finally, rare photographs of bizarre inventions and forgotten innovations bridge the familiar and the fantastical, offering viewers insight into the creativity, ambition, and eccentricity of past generations. They challenge the notion that history is only shaped by successful technologies or widely adopted ideas, revealing the breadth of human imagination and the willingness to experiment, fail, and dream. Through these images, audiences gain a deeper appreciation for the inventiveness, curiosity, and audacity that have always driven human societies, often in ways that conventional historical narratives overlook. In this section, forgotten inventions and bizarre historical phenomena connect with prior explorations of daily life, culture, and innovation, emphasizing the diverse ways humans have experimented and adapted. These images provide continuity between individual creativity, community ingenuity, and societal change, preparing viewers for subsequent sections that will explore hidden wartime realities, secret societies, and lesser-known historical conflicts. By presenting rare, unusual, and sometimes whimsical inventions, the documentary continues its goal of uncovering the untold stories and unexpected facets of human history. Rare historical photographs often capture hidden wartime realities, secret operations, and covert events that history books frequently overlook or sanitize. These images provide an unfiltered glimpse into the human experiences of conflict, revealing the strategies, risks, and sacrifices that defined battles, campaigns, and clandestine activities. One striking photograph shows soldiers moving through a snow-covered forest, faces masked with grime and exhaustion, as they navigate treacherous terrain under enemy surveillance. The image conveys not only the physical danger of war but also the psychological strain, offering viewers a raw, immersive understanding of military life that official reports often omit. Some rare photographs document secret operations and intelligence work during times of conflict. One photograph captures a group of operatives preparing coded messages and maps in a dimly lit room, their concentration and tension palpable. Another shows soldiers using early camouflage technology, blending seamlessly with the landscape while observers remain unaware of their presence. These images preserve moments of ingenuity, risk, and meticulous planning, revealing the hidden layers of strategy and coordination that shaped wartime outcomes. They remind viewers that history is often influenced by unseen actors whose efforts remain largely invisible except through rare visual documentation. Rare photographs also reveal the human cost of war beyond the battlefield. Images of civilians caught in sieges, bombings, or forced evacuations highlight the vulnerability and resilience of populations under extreme conditions. One haunting photograph depicts families crossing a destroyed bridge, carrying whatever belongings they could salvage, while smoke rises from the ruins behind them. Another shows children huddled in makeshift shelters, expressions of fear and determination etched on their faces. These images humanize history, illustrating the profound and often overlooked consequences of military conflict on ordinary people, while emphasizing the strength, endurance, and adaptability required to survive. Some photographs document unusual or experimental military technologies, offering insight into both innovation and desperation. One image shows a prototype armored vehicle designed for urban combat, its design unconventional and somewhat impractical, yet indicative of the inventive thinking necessitated by the pressures of war. Another photograph captures early attempts at aerial reconnaissance, with soldiers using rudimentary cameras mounted on balloons or planes. These rare images illustrate the intersection of human creativity, necessity, and the harsh realities of conflict, revealing a side of wartime history that textbooks rarely explore in depth. Hidden wartime photographs also document moments of espionage and covert operations that were both dangerous and historically significant. One rare image shows an intelligence officer meeting a local informant in a crowded marketplace, faces cautious, eyes scanning for threats. Another photograph captures the construction of secret tunnels or bunkers, where workers and soldiers operate under the constant threat of discovery. These photographs provide evidence of the clandestine efforts that often determine strategic outcomes, revealing the risks, ingenuity, and coordination required to conduct operations behind enemy lines. Rare wartime images also reveal the interplay between morale, propaganda, and everyday life during conflict. Soldiers are often depicted engaging in small acts of humanity, sharing meals, playing cards, or tending to wounded comrades, moments that contrast with the chaos and destruction surrounding them. One photograph captures a makeshift concert held for troops, instruments improvised from scavenged materials, smiles fleeting but genuine. Another shows civilians distributing food and supplies under the watchful eyes of soldiers, a reminder that survival depended not only on strategy but also on community, cooperation, and resourcefulness. These photographs document resilience, resourcefulness, and the human capacity to maintain dignity and solidarity amidst chaos. Some rare photographs reveal the covert activities of resistance movements, sabotage missions, and underground networks. An image captures members of a secret resistance cell in a dimly lit basement, maps and documents spread before them, faces tense yet determined. Another photograph shows operatives planting messages or sabotaging infrastructure under the cover of night, actions critical to the larger war effort yet invisible in conventional historical accounts. These images illuminate the courage, organization, and strategic thinking of individuals and groups whose contributions were often overshadowed, demonstrating that history is shaped as much by clandestine efforts as by visible battles. Photographs from occupied territories often reveal daily life under surveillance, repression, or threat, offering a unique perspective on resilience and adaptation. One rare image shows citizens navigating curfews and checkpoints, their expressions careful and deliberate, while another captures children playing in streets littered with debris, joy persisting despite fear. These photographs document the tension between oppression and normalcy, showing how communities adapted and resisted, preserving cultural life and human dignity even in the shadow of war. They reveal history not only as a record of events but as a study of human endurance, creativity, and agency under extreme conditions. Rare wartime photographs also include documentation of unusual or little-known military campaigns, highlighting stories that mainstream history may have minimized. One image depicts a remote mountain battalion establishing defensive positions, its soldiers dwarfed by rugged terrain. Another shows a naval operation in icy waters, ships maneuvering through treacherous ice floes, crews bracing against wind and waves. These photographs expand understanding of conflict, revealing diverse environments, tactics, and experiences that contributed to historical outcomes but are often overlooked in conventional narratives. Ultimately, rare photographs of hidden wartime realities offer a visual narrative of courage, strategy, suffering, and resilience. They provide viewers with a more nuanced and humanized understanding of conflict, illustrating that history is shaped not only by grand battles or political decisions but also by ordinary individuals, covert operations, and extraordinary perseverance. These images bridge the gap between documented events and lived experience, preserving moments that textbooks rarely capture, and setting the stage for the documentary's final section, which will reflect on the overarching themes, hidden stories, and the enduring power of visual history. As we reach the conclusion of this journey through rare historical photographs, it becomes clear that history is far richer, stranger, and more human than conventional narratives often suggest. These images, preserved against the odds, offer windows into moments that textbooks overlook, capturing the unseen, the unusual, and the deeply personal aspects of human life. From inventions that never took off, to hidden tragedies, social movements, and private moments of famous figures, these photographs collectively reveal a tapestry of experiences, emotions, and ambitions that define the human story. Each image is not just a frozen moment but a testament to curiosity, courage, resilience, and creativity across time. The power of these rare photographs lies in their immediacy and authenticity. Unlike written records, which can be filtered, interpreted, or simplified, photographs provide a direct visual encounter with the past. They capture nuance, emotion, and context in ways that words often cannot. The expression of a child surviving famine, the laughter of workers testing a strange invention, the tension on the face of an activist marching for justice, all of these moments resonate because they are preserved in raw, unfiltered form. They remind us that history is not only a collection of dates, wars, or rulers but a series of human experiences shaped by circumstance, choice, and ingenuity. Through these images, we also gain insight into the duality of human existence, the coexistence of hardship and joy, risk and creativity, despair and resilience. Rare photographs of disasters, war, and oppression highlight the vulnerabilities and suffering that shaped communities, while images of leisure, invention, and cultural expression demonstrate the persistence of human creativity and spirit in the face of adversity. By juxtaposing these realities, the photographs challenge viewers to confront the complexities of history, resisting simplistic narratives and encouraging deeper reflection on the human condition. Importantly, these photographs also serve as reminders of the untold stories of ordinary people whose lives, struggles, and triumphs have often been overshadowed. Whether it is a laborer participating in a forgotten protest, a child playing amidst ruins, or a family rebuilding after disaster, these images give voice to individuals who were active participants in shaping their societies. They remind us that history is not only written by rulers, generals, or inventors but by countless unnamed individuals whose choices, actions, and resilience form the foundation of collective human experience. Moreover, the rarity of these photographs amplifies their significance. Many have survived only in fragile archives, personal collections, or unexpected discoveries. Their scarcity adds a sense of intimacy and urgency, as if each image is a secret passed through time. By examining these photographs, viewers are invited into a hidden historical world, gaining access to experiences and perspectives that are otherwise inaccessible. The sense of discovery, of witnessing something forgotten or overlooked, creates a powerful connection between the past and present, fostering empathy, curiosity, and understanding. These photographs also highlight the evolution of human imagination and innovation. From bizarre inventions and experimental technologies to artistic performances and cultural celebrations, they document the relentless drive to explore, create, and improve. Even in failure, these moments reveal ambition, experimentation, and ingenuity, emphasizing that progress is rarely linear and that human creativity often flourishes in unexpected and unconventional ways. They remind us that the pursuit of knowledge, entertainment, and self-expression has always been intertwined with everyday life, work, and society. Finally, rare historical photographs remind us of the enduring relevance of visual storytelling. They preserve moments that would otherwise be lost, allowing modern viewers to witness history in its most vivid and compelling form. They challenge assumptions, reveal hidden realities, and celebrate human resilience, curiosity, and creativity. By bridging the gap between what is remembered and what is forgotten, they expand our understanding of the past and inspire reflection on the present and future. In conclusion, these rare photographs do more than document events. They reveal the richness, complexity, and humanity of history. They tell stories of invention and failure, tragedy and triumph, oppression and resistance, play and imagination. They remind us that history is not a static record but a living, breathing narrative shaped by countless human experiences. By engaging with these images, we honor the past, understand the present, and preserve the lessons, emotions, and creativity of those who came before us. In their silent yet vivid frames, the hidden stories of humanity endure, waiting to be seen, remembered, and appreciated.